सबको है। इम्यूनिटी को बढ़ाना है, हर घर में हर किसी को हर दिन डाबर च्यवनप्राश खाना है। भारत करे विश्वास, हर दिन डाबर च्यवनप्राश।
Yes.
Good afternoon, dear members. I, Ashok Jain, Executive Vice President Finance and Company Secretary, welcome you all to the 46th Annual General Meeting of Dabur India Limited. This meeting is being held through video conference in compliance with the circulars issued by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs and SEBI. Before we start the main proceedings of the meeting, I would like to inform you that for reasons beyond its control, Mr. Amit Burman, Chairman, could not attend this annual general meeting. Therefore, Mr. Mohit Burman, who is Vice Chairman of the Board, will chair this meeting and conduct the proceedings of the today's annual general meeting of the company. I welcome Mr. Mohit Burman and other directors present at this AGM. And for the benefit of new members, I would like to introduce directors on the board of the company who are present in today's meeting and the CFO. I would request the directors whose name is pronounced to acknowledge their presence by raising or waving their hand or greeting by Namaste sign. First, we have with us Chairman of the meeting, Mr. Mohit Burman. Then, Mr. Aditya Burman, Non-Executive Director. Then, Dr. Ajay Dua, Independent Director and Chairman of Corporate Social Responsibility Committee and Risk Management Committee. Then we have Mr. Ajit Mohan Sharan, Independent Director, Mr. Mohit Malhotra, CEO and Full-Time Director of the company, and Stakeholder Relationship Committee, Mr. R.C. Bhargav, Independent Director, Dr. Ryan, Independent Director and Chairman of Nomination and Remuneration Committee, Mr. Saket Burman, Non-Executive Director, and Dr. Anand Burman, who is Advisor to the Board. Then Mr. Ankush Jain, Chief Financial Officer of the company. We also have with us Mr. Neeraj Goyal, representing Vakar Chandyok and Company, statutory auditors of the company, Mr. Chandrasekharan from Chandrasekharan Associate, secretarial auditors of the company, and Ms. Parvati from Ramnath Iyer and Company, cost auditors, who have joined this meeting through video conference. We have the requisite quorum present through video conference to conduct the proceedings of this meeting. Participation of members through video conference is being reckoned for the purpose of quorum as per the circulars issued by Ministry of Corporate Affairs and Section 103 of the Companies Act 2013. The quorum being present, I call this meeting to order. As the members are aware that this AGM is being conducted through video conference in compliance with the provisions of the Companies Act 2013 and relevant circulars issued by Ministry of Corporate Affairs and SEBI from time to time, the company has taken all feasible steps to ensure that the shareholders are provided an opportunity to participate in the AGM through video conferencing or other audio-visual means and vote. The facility for joining this AGM had been organized for the members on first-come, first-served basis, except for large shareholders, promoters, institutional investors, directors, key managerial personnel, the chairpersons of the Audit Committee, Nomination Remuneration Committee, and the Stakeholders Relationship Committee, as well as the auditors, who are allowed to attend the AGM without any restriction on account of first come, first served basis. The soft copy of the annual report has been sent to all the members holding shares in the dematerialized mode and whose email addresses are available with the depository participant, as well as to all other members holding shares in physical mode whose email addresses are registered with the company or its registrar for communication purposes. Confirming that the company ESOP scheme had been implemented in accordance with the SEBI regulations and the resolution passed by the shareholders in this regard, and other documents mentioned in the notice convening this meeting are available online for inspection by the members as per notice. Members may please note that since this AGM is being held through video conference, the facility for appointment of proxy by the members was not applicable, and hence the proxy register for inspection is not available. The company has received requests from few members to register them as speakers at the meeting. Accordingly, the floor will open for the members to ask questions or express their views. The moderator will facilitate this session once the floor is open for questions and answers. Members are requested to refer to the instructions provided in the notice or appearing on the video conference page for a seamless participation through video conference. In case members face any difficulty, they may reach out on the helpline numbers given in the notice. Members can also post their views or question on the Ask a Question tab on their video conference screen. The company had provided the facility to cast the votes electronically on all resolutions set forth in the notice during the period 16th August 2021 to 18th August 2021. Members who have not cast their vote yet electronically and who are participating in this meeting will have an opportunity to cast their vote during the meeting through e-voting system provided by the registrar of the company. Members can click on Vote tab on the video conference screen to avail this feature. Members may please note that there will be no voting by show of hands. Now I would request Chairman Mr. Mohit Burman to deliver his speech.
Good afternoon, dear shareholders. Let me begin by wishing all of you good health and safety in these challenging times. I trust your family and friends are keeping well. This is my first opportunity to speak directly with you all, our esteemed shareholders. It gives me immense pleasure to extend a warm welcome to all of you to the 46th Annual General Meeting of Dabur India Limited. It is wonderful to know that many of you are joining in from different parts of India as well as from other countries for joining us at this Annual General Meeting. When we addressed you remotely last year, we were hoping that we would be able to meet many of you in person for this year's Annual General Meeting. But the long and destructive second wave and the possibility of a third wave of COVID calls for caution. With the world's largest vaccination drive gaining momentum with every passing day, let us hope that full normalcy gets restored within this year. All of us have in some way or the other been impacted by the second and more devastating wave of COVID-19 this year. My heart goes out to all the families who have lost their loved ones or are struggling with health issues due to this pandemic. I would also like to take this opportunity to express my immense gratitude to all our frontline heroes for their efforts in keeping the nation and its citizens safe during these uncertain times. I would also like to place on record my deep appreciation for the entire Dabur family who have risen to meet the challenges which this pandemic threw up over the past year. On behalf of the Board of Directors of Dabur India Limited, I thank them for their dedication and commitment as they work towards ensuring business continuity and uninterrupted supply of our products to millions of consumers when they needed them the most. Within the company, we started the business continuity planning process immediately, keeping in mind the safety and security of our employees and the need for greater consumer centricity. Our decision to adopt a fearless and agile organization design helped Dabur India Limited successfully ride through the storm and report industry best growth numbers in a tough COVID year. Despite facing multiple headwinds, Dabur India Limited delivered a robust performance in 2021 with 10% growth in consolidated revenue from operations touching 9,562 crores. Consolidated net profit for 2021 stood at 1,693 crores, a 17.2% jump over the previous year. Our India FMCG business led the growth with a 15% surge, with underlying volume growth of 12.5% in 2021. Dabur also continued to gain market share across all categories like shampoo, toothpaste, hair oils, Chyawanprash, and packaged juices and nectars during the year. Our international business was impacted due to COVID in the first half of the year. However, the business made good recovery during the second half, with most countries coming back to good growth driven by consumer connect initiatives, cost efficiencies, and innovation. This year also saw Dabur cross several important milestones. Our gross sales topped 10,000 crores for the first time. Our operating profit exceeded 2,000 crores. One of our youngest and flagship power brands, Dabur Red Paste, touched the 1,000 crore mark. We added 500 crores turnover to the health supplements portfolio, which includes iconic brands like Dabur Honey and Dabur Chyawanprash. Our market capitalization touched the rupees 1 trillion mark. This strong performance comes from the high degree of resilience that we have built into our business through a series of consumer-centric and tactical innovations, coupled with continued investments behind our power brand strategy, distribution enhancement initiatives, and increased flexibility into our planning and go-to-market strategies. The emergence of the second and more devastating wave of the pandemic in March 2021 tested the character of our organization all over again, as we stayed true to our Ayurvedic roots while working tirelessly towards serving all our stakeholders. The health and safety of our employees remain paramount. We rolled out a series of initiatives across our operations to prevent the spread of infection. Despite our best efforts, we had to face a few casualties, with a couple of our employees succumbing to COVID. Dabur has decided to support their family with continued monthly salary for 1 year in addition to the term insurance cover provided by the company. While we understand this can no way help make up for the loss, we feel this small gesture would help support the family through the tough period. We also rolled out a series of measures to protect employees at our stockists and CFAs while stepping up our efforts to serve the community. Dabur donated millions of face masks, sanitizers, and other critical material to local COVID isolation centers and frontline workers, besides investing in oxygen generation units to meet the growing need for this vital life support system. Despite the challenges brought about by the COVID pandemic and the resultant nationwide lockdown, I am happy to report that we have moved forward on our ESG commitments. We implemented a series of measures both within and outside our gates to reduce the impact of our business on the environment and also support sustainable development of communities. Today, the lives of 2.2 million people have been positively impacted by our CSR initiatives across the country. We are also moving ahead with our plastic waste management initiative, having collected and processed recycled over 11,000 million tons of post-consumer plastic waste during the year. We have now targeted to become a plastic waste neutral enterprise in the current financial year. I continue to look at Dabur and our future with great optimism. The challenges of COVID are far from over. The emergence of the second wave earlier this year and talks of another wave likely in the future means that we might have to cope with the related challenges in the months to come. That said, I'm happy to state that we as an organization are better prepared to handle these challenges as compared to last year. We are also applying learnings from last year on streamlining the supply chain to ensure no disruption in availability of our products. I am confident that Dabur is well positioned to meet the challenges ahead and generate sustainable long-term growth. Our company achieved many admirable wins and milestones through the year. Dabur India Limited was named the Economic Times Champions of Rural Markets for its unmatched contribution in fostering rural markets. Dabur also bagged the Business World Pure Purpose and Resilience Brand Award 2020 for its commitment towards creating awareness on immunity, building and promoting Atmanirbhar Bharat. Our brand, notably Dabur Red Paste, Dabur Chyawanprash, and Réal, among others, have been ranked amongst India's most preferred brands by several prestigious organizations and platforms. All of this would not have been possible with the support from all of you, our long-term shareholders. Before I conclude, I would also thank the members of the board for the experience and creative perspectives they bring to Dabur. I would also like to place on record my great sense of appreciation to our investors, our consumers, employees, and our business partners for their continued perseverance and commitment. Stay safe and healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. I now request Mr. Mohit Malhotra, CEO of the company, to make a business presentation for the benefit of shareholders.
Thank you, Mohit. Thank you, Mr. Jain. I'll start my business presentation, and it's a matter of pride and privilege for me to be presenting here on the 46th Annual General Meeting of Dabur India Limited. My presentation will be in three parts. First part of my presentation will be giving you a brief overview of the company, a few milestones, a fact sheets about the organization. We reached a big watershed mark of 1 trillion rupees last year. I think that in the history of Dabur is very to around 1700 crores and a market cap in 5 years from 50,000 crores to 100,000 crores in a span of 5 years' time. As I spoke about our manufacturing locations, we have 12 manufacturing locations in India and also in HPC near Indore. 50 acres of land has already been taken, the construction has already begun, and commissioning of the plant will happen sometime in November. In international business, we've got 8 manufacturing locations in international. They use the free trade agreements in different parts of the world, and that's how the whole manufacturing strategy has been planned in international business. We've got a facility in Turkey which caters to the European Union, so all the imports in and out of Europe are duty-free for us. We've got a facility in Egypt which caters to the COMESA market, which is South and East African treaty. We have a thing in UAE which caters to the GAFTA treaty, which is the greater, backed by a volume growth of around 12.4%, and India FMCG business grew by 15% in a COVID year. International business had some headwinds on account of COVID and some markets didn't perform. Therefore, the growth was 3.4% in international business. Our operating profit was 11.7% growth, much ahead of the top line growth of 10%, and profit after tax grew by 17%, ahead of 10% of top line. I think stellar performance during the COVID year, while other companies, a lot of companies we know have changed their business models and struggling, while in this period Dabur leveraged the tailwind of healthcare and grew at this industry-leading growth rate. In terms of the granularity of growth rate, what all contributed to this growth rate was a segment-wise performance. Our healthcare business leveraged the tailwind which was there on healthcare on account of COVID, grew by 32%, with a great performance of Chyawanprash and Honey, which were star brands within the healthcare portfolio, while the entire portfolio performed very well, grew by more than 25%, but these two were standout brands here. HPC portfolio grew by 9.5%, and our food and beverage portfolio, despite the headwinds of COVID and people could not move out and restrictions on mobility, grew by around 3%. Our healthcare contribution, which were hitherto 30% a year before, has increased its contribution to 39%. and which is profitably more accretive to the business and also the core of the company. Food and beverage portfolio is 13% as seems here. Last year was 20% on account of higher growth of healthcare. You see a little muted number here in terms of contribution of food and beverage portfolio of 17%. Our home and personal care portfolio, which was 50% in the prior year, is reduced to around 48% on account of high growth in the healthcare business. Now, if you look at the performance of all our brands, healthcare, home and personal care, healthcare, or foods across all the segments, we've seen stellar market share gains across the market. When I say market share gains, I mean competitively, Dabur has performed far better as compared to competitors and has gained market shares and consolidated its position. In Chyawanprash, we gained around 200 basis points. In Chyawanprash, we are 62% of the market today. In glucose, we gained 200 basis points and we are 30% of the market. In digestive tablets represented by Hajmola, we gained 200 basis points, are almost now 50% of the market. In baby massage oils, which is dominated by some multinationals, there we gained 74 basis points and we are around a third of the market. Shampoo, we are small players yet, but we've increased our market shares by 84 basis points to reach up to 6% volume shares. In hair oils, we've gained 14 basis points to reach up to around 15% market share. In toothpaste, 100 basis points gains, and we are very closely going to be now number 2 in the country with 16% market share and a number 2 brand, a number 2 company in oral care by end of this financial year, hopefully. We have another 100 basis. Dabur and Vatika being household names in the Middle East market and doing very well and growing at a very fast pace. This is like a true Atmanirbhar Bharat, and just not Atmanirbhar, but taking the name of India to over